I thought I'd take a minute just to share from the map in the back. Now, there's better information, but basically this will give you a rough overview. There's better maps now, but here we have Damascus up here. This is the location from which the king of the north, Levant, comes. And here is Caesarea Philippi, the place at the base of Mount Hermon, Panias, where Messiah gave his speech and said in no uncertain terms, standing at a literal place called the gates of hell, hashtag gates of hell, hashtag Mount Hermon, hashtag Golan Heights, hashtag Golan, hashtag covenant with death. I say that because the Watchers descended here on Mount Hermon as in the days of Jared and taught men all kinds of wicked things. And this is the location of the 33rd parallel. And if you go all the way to the other side of the world, it's also the 33rd parallel runs through Roswell, and of course the paranormal component associated with wicked principalities and powers above and things of that nature. Directly connected to the 33rd degree Masonry, and that's why you look at the Shriners, and there's Damascus Shriners and Aleppo Shriners, places again in Syria, Babylon to the north. And it's where the Father brings the king of Babylon, Babalu, to the north, from where Abraham came, and he first he gets the Golan Heights, possession of the Golan Heights, which is the strategic mountain range. Mount Hermon here, again, at the base of it, where Messiah gave his speech stating that the gates of hell will not prevail. And indeed, I tell you today, they will not. They won't prevail any more than they are ahead of the game. I am ahead of the game because I know my Father above. And that's why my testimony precedes the coming of the King of the North. Before he ever assumed power, and before he ever destroyed his nation, and gathered the nations to Israel's northern border, being the king of the north, again, not difficult here, gathers Iran and the new leader of Iran coming to visit Syria first, because there's one head, and we're not to look to the left, to the west, as Israel, wayward Jerusalem tends to do, looking for protection from the west. And we're not to look to the east, thinking that Iran is the biggest problem, to the right, but instead to have our eyes squarely focused on one head, that is the willful king of the north, like the prophets warned about. The Assyrian in Isaiah and numerous locations, and in Micah, who will trample the cities, our high places, Nazareth, and he'll come through Samaria and Judea right up to the neck of Jerusalem, right here. But first, he see, it's a counter gospel. Again, not difficult. It's antichrist. It's against the message. It's against the promises of Abraham. Messiah said, well, if you were Abraham's kids, you wouldn't seek to kill me. Abraham didn't do that. And so Abraham, the Messiah and Abraham, they didn't want to raise the land and destroy it like locusts, marauders, and that uproot what they have not planted and devour where they have not sown. That's not the fruit of Abraham. That's wicked behavior, as a matter of fact. So the good news is to go from Judea, not the Jews, Judea, the land of Judea, a place, Judea, Samaria. See here, right here is Judea, Samaria, later called the west bank of the Jordan River by the wicked, who want to truncate and remove Israel. Come, they say, let us remove them from being a nation, that the name of Israel be remembered no more. With one mind they plot. They form an alliance against the Father above. And in Psalms 83 and verse 8, it is the leader of the group from Assyria, the Assyrian from Damascus, Syria, that comes to help the descendants of Lot with Judea and Samaria and the West Bank annexation, and of course the division of Jerusalem, which brings about the destruction of the entire earth. When Jerusalem is divided, it says clearly and emphatically that the nations and all of the cities and the kingdoms of the earth falter. Well, they will do so after Damascus falters, and in a time space that it takes the Assyrian willful king of the north to get from Damascus to Jerusalem. He will drag the entire light of the world with him, and the Father above uses him as an axe and an instrument of chastisement upon the wicked, and he destroys the cities in which we trust. And boy, do we trust them. Stand here, sit here, wear this, don't wear that. Wear one of these, two. No, No, don't wear it if you get the jab. Wear it if you don't get the jab. No. Now you've got the jab, now you need to wear it again. So it's utter confusion. It is absolute chaos, and it is indeed your choice to participate. And it will come as a consequence. It's yielding your voice, your own objectivity, and right to decide for yourself and deferring it to another. And sadly, that is not going to end well. In fact, it ends, like I said, with the Assyrian destroying the cities in which we trust, and all of the unequal weights and measures that they offer and afford an individual. So, again, the good news comes from Judea, Samaria, and into the uttermost parts of the earth, right up through Syria and whatnot, all the way over into to Europe and whatnot. That's where the message went. Now the wicked, what does he do? The man of sin, the man of lawlessness, the son of perdition, the son of destruction, who through his craft and cunning causes deceit to prosper. What does he do? He comes from, of course, the uttermost dark, foreboding region of the north, being the king of the north, backward through Samaria, Judea, and, of course, destroying Jerusalem. This is not difficult, folks. The Father loves you. Look up, for your redemption draws near. We're going to be looking for one coming from the east and the north, as the prophets foretold. His first coming and his birth, he came from the north and the east, and in that order, came from the north, raised up in the east, being from the tribe of Judah, down here. And the reason he was down here in Bethlehem, the house of bread, is because that was where his father David came from. In fact, the city of David is here. And so Joseph's father, being of the house of David, Joseph being of the house of David, that's why they were there, again, coming from the north and the east the first time when he was raised up. And when he returns, he, according to the testimony of Daniel, he will destroy the willful, wicked king of the north, a usurper, a thief, and a robber, who seeks to climb up another way, not entering by the door, but instead calls himself the door. That is in Arabic, al-Bab, meaning the door, or the gate. He seeks to climb up into the heavens and ascend in the flesh, while the Messiah laid down the flesh, because that's the appropriate mechanism this side of being expelled from the Garden of Eden for men, to die and then be raised as a righteous plant on the third day, not seeing corruption, in fulfillment of the promise to his father David, that thy Holy One will not see corruption, but was instead raised on the third day. In other words, he did not decay. Again, when he returns, he destroys the willful king of the north, who will at that time have conquered Jerusalem. And he destroys the willful king of the north as he returns from the east and the north. And we're going to talk more about his star again in coming details, and the sign of his coming. Of course, the broad signs: famines, plagues, pestilences, diseases, and earthquakes in strange and diverse places, things of that nature, but also more specifically his star and his sign and how that works and where it's located and things of that nature. And I hope this is a blessing. Hi, baby girl. Bless you guys. Again, peace comes from above and not below.